So tell me how long you've both been working with Artworks and how you got started.
20 years,
Okay, so since the beginning.
yes. And I got started because I was in Schuberg's and got drafted by Marty Edwards to come and take a look at the books.
Okay, so y'all were handling stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah, pretty much the whole time. And so I took a look and the board said, okay, they approved the report that I gave. And then they said, well, we need a bookkeeper, somebody that's going to work at it. So I accepted that job and set up an accounting system, and off and on for about 7 years did that. When I say off and on, I was probably 5-6 years in that position. Part of the time as a treasurer on the board as well. But then I went to fill-ins at some point. I dropped off, and then somebody would leave, so I'd fill in for a year and then come back. And that's pretty much been my involvement, other than a few little volunteer gigs that I get drafted for or volunteered for.
Well, I think it's the thing that sometimes people don't realize, certainly in respect to Dave. When the artworks moved from the building across the street to here, I mean, he had to set up, all of the, the phones, the everything that had to be set up then in the new location. He just was behind the scenes on so many of the detailed, things that had to be done for artworks. And
So how did you get involved? Just because
Well-
Dave was involved?
Well, I think early on, I've been trying to reflect on that, and I think early on I was involved with the Council for the Arts, and my involvement became more intensive as, we had the artworks across the street and then the move here, so I was always working behind the scenes on something, on some committee, and then primarily then on the committee that worked to merge the two organizations. And we came up somehow, and I don't even recall how, but somehow we came up with the name of MOCA. Somebody thought that was catchy. And it was not very long lasting. It was an acronym for Macasta Osceola
Council for the Humanities and the Arts.
Yeah, right. And then we then came up with Artworks, so and moved on from there.
We had to-
Go ahead.
We had to file that merger because both the associations, the humanities and the arts, were 501c3 for corporations and so on. So we had to file that merger, and what happened was that we absorbed the humanities corporation and again became Artworks.
Mm-hmm. So moving on from there, because I, then I was on the board of the new organization and worked on developing the bylaws and the, job descriptions for various employees. Then the interesting thing to me is I was in a lot of conversations with the Michigan Council for the Arts and Humanities. And they were very interested in what we were trying to do because no one else in the state had attempted to merge two organizations like ours. Because there's always turf issues, and there's always has to become a meeting of the minds of how we're going to move forward. But
So I heard about the marriage ceremony.
Oh,
That there
yes.
was a bride and a groom
Yes.
and a minister.
yes, that was pretty hilarious. For
Jeanette talked about that.
Yeah, and that was fun. And so we finally became one. and that was a good thing. But through the years, the other things that I personally have been involved in is the Foreign Film Committee, and that's just been pure fun. But the other things that I personally love about artworks is,
Well, that was gonna be
for
my next
instance,
question. What's your
oh,
favorite thing about artworks?
look around us. You see the exhibit that's going on now, all the different exhibits that we've had that have, featured artists and also, historical things that.
Yeah, this
help
one
us
is
to
very
think.
humanities focused.
Very much so, and I love all the exhibits that we've had, and our collaboration with the Smithsonian exhibits, the exhibit that highlighted our industry here in Mecosta County. I mean, I think it's been extraordinary, the thought and the effort that's gone behind all that. I personally was not involved in it. I mean, I've been involved in the Foreign Film Committee, but I've always had some sort of a background job which suited my abilities.
Dave, what's your favorite thing about artworks?
Well, looking back, without bragging too much, I must have put in a pretty good system because it's still used today for accounting and financial reporting, and I can look back with the ability to relax and that I've left a decent legacy in that regard.
Okay. Why are the arts important, and what makes artworks unique in Big Rapids? That's really two questions, but
It is.
Community participation.
that's what makes artworks unique.
Yeah, I think we're just about the right size of a community to enjoy the things that Artworks does, and Artworks puts a kind of a personal emphasis on attending to what individuals like to see and works and builds on that sort of thing.
Okay.
We've been, of course, very fortunate with the leadership we've had.
So what do you think makes artworks unique, Shirley?
Well, I think for me, it's no question that we are unique in the sense that we offer, a vehicle to highlight our artists, but also a vehicle for presenting exhibits that help us to think, like this one. And I think that's unusual. I don't think currently there's a lot of organizations that are able to pull off what we do. And it's been certainly a lot of leadership and collaboration between the artists and the behind the scenes people, just to move this effort forward. And it's been really quite wondrous, I think.
So if you could leave us with one thought about artworks, what would it be?
My thought would be we need to keep on working to keep it growing and keep it going.
Okay. Dave?
I second that. And, I think really it's such an asset to everyone that lives here, and more and more we're getting that message out to everyone that lives here.
Okay.